All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday night training. Jesse Macpherson coming at you live from back in Phoenix, Arizona, as I have been making my trek from pretty much around the world as we've been kind of going all over the place. So was over in Montenegro for our boot camp event that we had for Europe, which was incredible. Heading over to Sweden and some stuff in Norway. Had got stuck in Amsterdam for a couple days. Pit stop at home and then over to Hawaii. So we were over there, and I want to say congratulations to the team in Hawaii that's been exploding in the last 2 months, 2.5 months, not even 2.5 months. I think about the last 10 weeks. They brought one new platinum, one new silver, 3 new Royales, I think a dozen new bronzes just in the last 2 months in Hawaii. So we had a great event there on Thursday night, which led into more events over the course of the weekend, which were awesome, and had an opportunity to celebrate my 6-year anniversary. Also, to my Canadians, happy Canadian Day, which I think is July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and some Tim Hortons. I don't know what else you guys doing up there. So, and then to my fellow Americans, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. And I know it's not Memorial Day. However, I do want to just take a quick second to say thank you so much to all of the men and the women, the families that have served for our country. On behalf of my family to yours, thank you. Because one of the things, if you haven't realized, regardless of what side of the fence you sit on, because today everything has been so polarized, I think something that we can all agree on, and that freedom isn't free. It's not something that is just given out. It's something that, my mom always taught me, said, if you have something in your life you didn't sacrifice for, it's because someone else sacrificed for you. And so I want to say thank you to the men and women who have put their lives on the line, because, we talk about creating freedom inside of our business, but we're never in danger. Like, if you're in danger doing Seacret, you're definitely doing it wrong. That's probably, that shouldn't ever be something that should be a concern for you as you're going out there and building your business. So as we get into today, I just got back here from an amazing trip, and we're heading into our boot camp event next weekend in Denver. So I know we're going to see every single person there. If you are not registered for boot camp, it shouldn't be optional at this point. It should be a must for you. So I can't wait to see everybody there. I flew in on a red eye last night, so haven't got much sleep other than a little bit of a power nap that we took this afternoon. And I've got in an hour from now, I've got a bunch of people coming over to my house for a secret social here in Phoenix. So if you know anyone in the Phoenix area, send them a text message. So we're going to be popping off here in Phoenix. We're going to be doing more events on a regular basis. The goal is to get them on a weekly basis. We're going to start off with bi-weekly or bi-monthly. For us to be able to get more events coming out here in the Phoenix area. So who do you know? Obviously, we have our corporate office here. We're going to be doing a lot of events here. Part of the reason why, my wife and I are excited to be able to open our home and be able to do more things here to show people what's happening. So if you're in the marketplace, we'll see you guys here. But outside of that, as we're coming from Denver, after Denver, I'm going to be doing a short tour, 3-city tour in Mexico. I'm going to be in Mexico City. I'm going to be in Puebla. I think I'm going to be in Guadalajara. So I'll get you guys details on that. Muzafer is in South Korea right now with our CEO, Isaac, launching the getaway programs in South Korea, which is pretty darn incredible. After that, I'm going to be heading down with one of our diamond leaders, Trish Vizera. So heading down to Australia, doing an event in Melbourne, and then their convention in the Gold Coast. And then followed by that, I'm going to be taking a plane from Australia over to Bali, going on my honeymoon finally for 2 weeks, throwing my phone in the ocean. You will not be hearing from me for a couple of weeks. And then you'll hear from me sometime in August when I go apparently buy a new phone. So, but I can tell you, it's one of the things here that we've been working so hard. And one of the things we're really excited about is the expansion that's happening with Club Seacret. And I want to talk a little bit about that. But honestly, what I wanted to do here today was something a little bit different. So, and I want to kind of kick off here today's training in a little bit different context, which is questions. So I want you to write this in your notes. If you haven't taken a note yet, all right, so write this down. Questions are the answers. Questions are the answers. A long time ago, I heard that smart people have answers, geniuses have questions. Smart people have answers, geniuses have questions, right? Meaning like this childlike sense of curiosity that has never left them as they're going out there and building. And so, as Mark Esteta always says, for those of you guys that have been to any of his trainings, is, get excited, pay attention, never quit. Get excited, pay attention, never quit. Now, getting excited is kind of obvious. Now, Some people haven't quite figured it out yet. They think they're excited, but they're really not. It's a scared level of excitement. So get excited, like freak some people out, get a little bit weird. It's okay. I'm not really it's all right. But getting excited means like it's already happening. Like the dreams are on their way, people. You just got to keep the appointment, right? You just got to keep showing up to it, but getting excited about it, where I love how Muzafer says, when you're talking about Seacret, people should see your eyes dancing, out of just pure joy and excitement. Now, doesn't mean that everything's perfect. Doesn't mean that everything's fantastic. I think most people that would tell you that having children is one of the most joyful things they've ever done in their lives. But there's also times you want to strangle your child. You know, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Not every moment is filled with joy, right? So, but part of it is understanding that this is something that I'm so passionate, I'm so excited about being so excited. Number one. Quit. Number three, that's obvious. You know if you quit or not, right? Now, here's the challenge that I see with a lot of people is when they quit, they don't actually quit. Right? Is what they do is most people, when they quit anything, what they start to do is they start to create distance. They start to create separation. So when people quit on a relationship, people quit on their faith, people quit on a business, it doesn't really matter necessarily what it is. What you'll notice is the telltale signs of somebody that is trying to quit, but before they quit, they want to create enough separation so it feels easier. Right? So when somebody stops showing up to the Zoom, someone stops showing up to the meetings, someone stops doing this, for me, I'm like warning signs, like, woo, woo, like, oh boy, here we go. I know where this path leads. I've been down it 100 times before, 1,000 times before inside of my business. So never quit. It's kind of obvious. But the second one is pay attention. Now, this is the one that I think actually warrants the most kind of conversation here today of paying attention. What do we mean by paying attention? Paying attention is something that I think a lot of people are missing when it comes to our business, and the nuances, the small things. So whereas instead of being influenced by their environment, they are influencing their environment and the things that are around you. So paying attention. Now, and for me, this was the details. So I want you to put this in your notes and some of these questions. How bad do I really want it? Just write that down. Just write this down. How bad do I really want it? Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I'm setting you guys up for this is because there's enough people on here to have some great questions. Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor here shortly. So you guys are going to direct the training here in a little bit for me. We're going to do a Q&A session, a leadership mastermind Q&A session. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to bring me your questions, anything. Could be product related, could be business related, could be comp plan related. It could be, hey, I'm stuck on this. Here's what I'm looking for. Not necessarily a customer service question like, hey, why did my products arrive on Sunday? Right. So, but more so is like, here's an area that I feel like I'm running into a brick wall and I'm getting stuck. I feel like I'm getting stopped in these areas. Right. So, or, hey, I'm having an issue with this. These are the questions. Now, you guys have all heard it said, there's no stupid questions, right? So, and that is true because we all are going to be going through this. And as we do this, I want you guys to be paying attention to the questions. And part of the reason why is it's a question either you have, you'll get an answer to. Number two, it's a question that you will have in the future. Or the third one, which is probably one of the most important, it's a question you're going to get. It's a question that somebody's going to ask you so you can be a better coach, a leader, a support, a mentor. Now, the reason why we want to talk to you guys about doing this in this context as questions is it's partly to prove a point. I'm kind of setting this up here and because I want to bring to you at the end of the training why I'm asking you these questions now, for me to bring it back at the end. So stay tuned. Don't miss out on this. I promise you there's a big lesson at the end, there's a big carrot at the end of this one for you if you stick around with me. So, but who has a question? Any question you could possibly ask that you want to know, hopefully pertaining to Seacret. But I guess it doesn't have to. It could be related to life if you really want to. But what do you want to know?
Hey, Jesse, it's Willie Myers from Woodstock, Georgia. Got a quick question for you.
What's up, buddy?
Actually, two things. Actually, I ran into this both twice in the last 2 days. Actually, just earlier today and yesterday. Doing a presentation and kind of going through, the company format and everything, doing kind of like a press play. And then I was asked, hey, you were doing something like this before. What's the difference between this and now? And why should I invest my time in it?
Got it. Great question. That's a great question. So, by the way, when somebody gives you an objection, so let's talk just briefly about objections. This is kind of a question on objections. All right. So is whatever the objection is, you'll notice that anytime someone gives me an objection or they give me a question, my immediate response is, that's a great question. Like I even do it habitually now. Like I don't even mean to. I just did it to you, really, where I was like, that's a great question. So because I genuinely was excited about the question. So if you validate the concern or validate the question, then you can go into it like you're excited to answer it. Remember, step one is what? Get excited. So be excited for an objection. Be excited for something like that. So here's how I would answer that, Willie. Now, some of the people that are on this line, you came from, so you could take a look at this two different paths. You know, for some of you, you built a travel business for many years and now you transitioned here over into Seacret. Some of you, you built a skincare business and now transitioned into building a membership base, right? Doesn't really matter. You could go this in any direction. So, but if I'll tell you what I would tell people. So this would be my conversation. Now, you don't have to take it to this, but this is what I would say if knowing a lot of the story from what happened. So let's say I was building a travel business, WV, for 5 years, 2 years, 7 years, doesn't really matter, right? And so I approached some people about it. Now I'm approaching them about Seacret. I'm approaching them about Club Seacret, right? So in this context, they say, well, hey, you approached me about something before, you know, so what's up with that? And be like, well, actually, this is actually the enhancement of what's evolved from that into something much bigger. And they say, well, what do you mean? You know, so this would be my conversation. I'd say, well, yeah, I was working with this incredible company called World Ventures, if that was the company you worked with. And I worked there for this many years and I learned so much. So what I always love talking about is the things that you loved about the company, because that will translate in your vocabulary. And what I mean by, I'm sorry, not your vocabulary, in your body language. So much of us are concerned about what we say versus how we say it. So some of you had great experiences with World Ventures. Most of you had a great time with so many things that were there. So talk about all the positive things that happened, right? So absolutely, I loved it. It was life-changing for me. I got to travel the world. I got to experience cultures and groups of people. I got into personal growth and development, or whatever it is that was really relevant for you. And I started learning the business and how to make some money. And so it was exciting for me. Now, as you guys know, and this is how I would say it. I'd say, so in 2020, I don't know if you guys have you heard this thing called COVID? Yeah, that happened. So listen, so nothing we could have done to prepare for it. So in 2020, the world changed and it was pretty difficult to build a travel business when the entire world shut down. That was really hard, right? So, but that's not unique to your business. And I think a lot of people are like, trying to oh, we failed. You didn't fail. COVID hit. You know how many companies just went away because of that? If Seacret was in the kiosks in the mall, even though it has a world-class product, would have been wiped out if they didn't transition into direct sales 10 years ago. So, I would say like a lot of companies, restaurants, barbershops, retail businesses collapsed, gyms, studio owners, that their traditional business collapsed because the world changed. And so, but here's what would happen. We actually withstood the storm together as a group, because that's what you did, right? So we withstood the storm together as a group, and we found an incredible company that was not only willing to build the greatest travel experience membership based off of our experience, but also has world-class products that actually fully encompass everything that you need inside of your life. So what ended up originally for us being like one of the most challenging things that we experienced as a company ended up being honestly one of the best things that could have happened for us, because now we're in a recession-proof, COVID-proof business because we have the best of all worlds, which I'm really excited about. And here's why. Boom.
Very cool. Appreciate it.
That would be kind of my conversation. So something of that nature is not downplaying it. Look, so it's anyway, that's probably what I would do in that. So let's see. We've got a couple of the things here. So I've got some great questions here. So here's the thing. I'm going to actually have you unmute. I want you to ask your question because I want to talk to you individually, because many of you, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to your question, because remember, questions are the answers. So who wants to go first? Unmute. Let's talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. By the way, just so you know, I was trolling all of you guys months, like a few weeks ago, when I said Top Gun was overrated. I don't know if you guys know. I had people unfriend me about that shit. I saw it again for like the 4th time yesterday in theaters. It's so good. It's such a good movie. Go see it. Who's got a question?
I'll jump in, Jesse, if I can.
Give it to me.
Okay. So not real proud of these numbers, but from May to July, I've shared with 25 people. I'm 0 for 25 on getting agents to sign up and build. I've had 12 of my big question is around, I've had 12 of the 25 say yes. None of those 12 have signed up yet. I mean, it's always they're going to. And they seem, you know, some of them seem more sincere than others. I mean, we can read through the nonverbal and all that. And there may be a few of the 12 that are, I could ask, hey, are you just giving me a polite yes, you know, but I really think 10 out of the 12 genuinely want to do it, but none of them, I mean, I've followed up more frequently. Now I'm kind of distancing my follow-ups on time, just not to, you know, keep going and showing new people, but I'm 0 for 25. I have 3 customers out of the 25. And I have 12 people that I've documented that have said, yes, I'm going to sign up. I could show you the messages and the conversations that we've had, but none of them have done it. So I'm just laying myself out there and going, man, this has been a tough 90 days. That's not counting 3-ways and some social, like, you know, spa parties, travel events that we've done for other people on the team.
Got it. I love it. I love it. Well, it's a beautiful question. So, and thank you for your authenticity here on this one. So I'm going to dive in and ask a bunch of questions, right? So, and I want you guys to be paying attention to this, because right now, one of the jobs that you're going to be doing is I want you to learn how to self-diagnose, right? So, and inside of your business, if you can learn to self-diagnose on this, it's really, 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 really important. And part of it is learning to ask yourself the right questions. And so, and there's kind of like the old adage, you guys have probably heard the expression WWJD, right? So what would Jesus do, right? And part of the reason why people are saying that is, like, in a scenario like this, what would be the high road to take? What would be the moral thing to do? Where's my moral compass? What, you know, like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm confused in a situation. What would somebody else do? Now, a lot of times I replace the Jesus with something else. What would Isaac do? What would Muzafer do, right? What would Jesse do? Like, what would some of these people that I admire and respect, what would they do? So that way I can think about it a little bit differently, because my thought process is getting me my results. So usually what I got to do is kind of take myself out of my own head and go into it. So in this particular sense, so here's the questions I'm going to ask on this. So first of all, amazing job. Like, the fact that you're doing the work is awesome. So let's talk about it. Talk to me about these presentations, right? So how are you exposing them to Seacret? Are they watching a video? Is it over phone? Is it over Zoom? Talk me through it.
Most of them have been one-on-one in person.
One-on-one in person.
Yes. And there's been a few that have not been. I don't have that in my notes here, but most of them have been in person. They've been a blend of the PowerPoint slides, but an abbreviated version of them. Yeah. And the 12-minute video that we have.
Perfect. Okay. 12-minute video, some slides. Are you demoing any product on them?
No, it's been more travel. I mean, I talk about the products, but no, it's been more travel focused, getting them in the club, and have not demoed any products.
Cool. All right. So, and just so you guys know, that's not a killer, right? So, like, it's not like you have to or anything like that. But one of the things I might suggest is bring 1 or 2 with you, so you can show that instant gratification or that instant result. I think it's something that would be really good. So that's first off. Now, at the end, all right, so the presentation. So let's talk a little bit, because it sounds like you've got interest, right, in that. Let's talk a little bit about the close, right? So at the end of the presentation, you're like, all right, so you're ready to get started. Okay. Are you using a form or using an application or anything?
No, not using an application. What I ask them is, after I go through the slides or go through the video, basically, what do you like most? Do you like the travel? You're more interested in the products or the business, or all of it? So it's basically kind of a yes, yes, or yes. They have to search for the no. And the goal is to get a third party either on the phone or in person. CJ and I, who are both in Springfield, we've done some of these for each other, but most of them I've been one-on-one, and then, you know, gotten a third party on some, but not on most of them, honestly. They say, I like all of it, or I like, they'll say what they like, right? And they'll give me the, yes, I want to do this. And then that's where it's like, but I can't do it yet. It's either financial or whatever it's varied per person, but that's when they go into the, I can't do it right now.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So here's a couple of things here, and you can, depending on how you do it, is I love the form. All right. So, and the form of this is because of the value of it. So I am a big proponent of forms. Part of the reason why is because it gives a little bit of a kind of a barrier between the awkwardness of closing. So, and this is the form. I got this. So we're posting this inside of the group. I also have it on the, it's a front and back. I'm using them tonight. I just printed off a bunch. The one side has become an agent, pick your pack, 400, 700, 2000, and pick your trip, right? So, and then it has all inclusive. It has their name, their information. And then on the back, it has what's in the 400 skincare, wellness, and travel, what's in the power, and what is in the pro pack, which is all the stuff, right? So I think forms are a big deal for us, number one. Now, the reason why I'm spending a lot of time on this question is because almost 100% of you are dealing with what Chance is dealing with. Can you guys agree on this? All right. So this is all stuff that you guys are in and you're dealing with and you're doing on a regular basis. So have your forms with you. Part of it is like these forms are kind of like a safety blanket. All right. So and for somebody to be like, hey, let's get you started. And I love literally looking down at the form. They're like, hey, I'm I'm more assumptive in like hey, let's get you on your getaway right away. Right. So, and let's get you there. Now, I'm not going to go too far into a closing conversation because I think there's a couple other pieces here that we can focus on a little bit more that I think will help not just you, but everybody. So in that moment is I'm saying, all right, great, let's get you started. And they're like, I can't do it right now. Right. So I can't do it right now. I was like, so, all right, great. So let me, I'm going to pick on you. Let's say that you're the prospect. So I'm saying Chance. All right. So when do you believe you'll be able to, so did you want to get the professional pack, the power pack, or the preview pack? Which one that makes the most sense for you, Chance?
I'll probably get the $400 pack.
The preview one. All right. So awesome. So, and when did you want to be able to get your business started so I can start helping you make money?
Gosh, everybody's giving a different answer.
Just give me random. Give me something.
That I just got life's in the way, too much going on right now. Can't really plan travel. Yes, it sounds great. I'd love to do it, but it's just gonna have to be a little bit in the future. I mean, it's real vague. I'm getting a lot of those vague kind of responses, and then I'm following up repeatedly, and then I'm feeling like, okay, how often should I follow up? But I keep doing it
until they buy or die.
Yeah.
So no. No, I mean, kind of in a way, but here's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to nail this down. So Chance, to say, listen, so if in this particular case, I say, all right, so Chance, now I'm going to switch gears here a little bit when somebody's in this context. For me, what I found is humans are a lot more motivated by fear of loss than hope of gain. It's just generally the thing that most people are more motivated by. So what I'm going to basically be doing in a lot of these cases is I'm going to be using in this case a little bit more fear of loss with somebody that's on the fence, meaning they genuinely, I think, want to do it. Right. But all they're thinking about is a trip in the future. They're thinking about what they have to maybe potentially gain as of right now versus what we can get done immediately. So there's two things that I'm going to do. And so I'll give you both of these strategies right now. And they both help me in all of these situations. Number one. Okay. All right. I call it shopping the app, right? Shopping the app. So the reason why I like apps is because it allows me to get the application. So if I am sitting with you and you're on the fence and you're not in yet, now I go sit down with my next person, right? All right, whoever that is, I go sit down with David, and I get David into the system, right? So now I get David's application. I'm not in the system. I apologize. I get David's application. David gives me a yes, right? Now David goes, yep, I'm in. I'm going to call back you, Chance. And I'm going to say, Chance, listen, hey, I got something unique going on. I know you said you might need a couple of weeks to figure this thing out. I said, but I just sat down with my boy David. All right. So he's a barber. He's got tons of clients. He's in communication with a lot of people in Chicago. He's got a big reason why. So, and really supporting his family and the people around him. This guy's a hard worker. He's dedicated, commitment. And listen, so I met with you before I met with David. Now, David, I just filled out his application. I have it right here in my hand. Now I got to put David in the system today because he's expecting to be able to get his products and get set up with his back office. say, Chance, listen, so I don't know if this is possible, right? But I wanted to give you a chance. That's cute. First. So, and I'd say, if you get started right now, if you can get me your information right now, I can get you in the system and I can actually put David in your business. So David actually goes a part of your team. Now, if you sign up later, that's cool. You'll be a part of David's team and everything you do will contribute to him. So which would you prefer?
Yeah, I'd prefer to be in before David.
You prefer to be in before David.
Yeah,
So now there's a fear of loss, right?
Yeah.
So towards you getting started. So I'm going to shop the app. Now, the reason why this works so well is because I always have a lot of people that are in between yes and in between no, that are thinking about it. So once I get an app, right? So I can shop that app to the next person, number one. So that is, and I can do that with 3, 4, 5 people. Now, Chance, I get your information. Chance, give me your information real quick. Perfect. I write it down. I got it. Now I'm calling back Lindsay. I was like, hey, Lindsay, hey, listen, I know you've been thinking about getting started in Seacret. Remember, we met last week. I know you've been trying to come up with the money. Well, listen, I got to tell you about something really quick. That's very time sensitive. I got my buddy David, sat down with David. I sat down with my buddy Chance. I have both of their applications. And if you give me your information right now, I can get you in the system. Now, I'm scrambling, right? Sometimes they're going to be scrambling, right? I don't know if I can figure it out. I was like, well, listen. So, all right, I can get you in the system right now for $49 as long as you're going to be getting your pack by the end of the week, right? Okay, because now I'm getting them in for the 49. I'm getting the pack in by the end of the week because I'm getting them positioned to have people underneath them. Here's what I found out. If I get them in for $49 and they see volume underneath them, they get active very quickly. So again, fear of loss, bigger motivator than hope of gain. So that is one strategy that I'm using. Did that make sense, Chance?
It did. I had a quick question for you. When you say get their pack, I'd try to get them to get their pack then, obviously, but if they could only do the 49 and they get in the system by the end of the week, do you mean our week?
Monday night, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because they need to be active the pay week that they join. Because
Right.
our system doesn't look at anything on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It just looks Monday night, what happened all that week, and then it makes that the close of the week. So if you get $49 on Friday and then $400 you buy your pack on Monday, there's no difference in our system. It ends up being everything is the same for us. Now, I'm not going to sell that in the beginning, but for somebody that I'm still holding off on, I'm going to use that, right? So how can I get them in the system? So because if I get them in for $49 and then I send them a picture of their back office with 2 people underneath them that bought a package, all of a sudden they're exciting. Okay, right? So right now, and wait for them to get their pack. I will as a last case resort, Kurt, but I want to do it in the same week, right? So, but every once in a while that happens, like somebody, because remember, my job is to move the business forward. Now that's number one, fear of loss. Number 2, which is probably the more effective and efficient manner, but I do both of these things, is I work through them. Okay. So a good example is a lot of people think somebody needs to join in order for them to start doing the business. So, and now this so much was it not so much of a time thing. When I got started in network marketing, most of my contacts were young and super broke. Right. So, and they were like, hey, I want to do this, but I have like no money. So what I would do is I would like, all right, so if you really want to do this, they're like, yes. I say, I'm going to treat you like you're enrolled and we're going to launch your business. And therefore, we're going to do your first presentation. So I mentally would treat them like they joined. Okay. So, because again, here's the thing, somebody who hasn't joined, but's going to introduce me to someone they know is more valuable to me, honestly, than somebody who joins and does nothing. Yeah. They are, right? So I don't need them to join to meet their contacts. Okay. So then what I'm doing is, but here's again, back to the same thing. You find somebody on their list that's interested. Weird how they always find the money, right? So they again, same thing, fear of loss, hope of gain. So for me, I need to be getting to my next presentation no matter what. So I'm not letting the 12 stop you. So you got people that are interested. Now, some of those will turn into yeses. Some of them will be no's. Some of it, we might need to put a little bit more pressure. The last thing that I would tell you, I've given you, I guess, 3 examples, which is third party, right? So you got to get a third party person involved as much as humanly possible. And here's the thing is you're not like introducing the closer, you're introducing the community. This is one of those things. So, and I want you to get that through it. You're not introducing the closer, you're introducing the community, because a closer is somebody that you're just coming in and closing the business, they're moving on. What you're doing is you're introducing them to the community. So, hey, listen, when you, and I'm assumptive. So they're like, hey, I could probably do this. I don't know, maybe a few weeks. Well, listen, whether you're going to get started tomorrow, or you're going to get started in a couple months from now, I'm really excited to introduce you to the people I'm working with. So you can kind of get the flavor and the vibe of the people that are here that are going to be helping support you and getting going.
That's great.
Right. So I'm going to be using that. But the second one of this strategy, guys, I'm telling you what is probably one of the most important things. So if I'm sitting down with Dave and Dave is like, I'm just really busy right now. Here's what I've always used, and it's worked really well for me. Say, David, you know people, right? He's like, yeah. And so here's the thing. You don't have time, but you know people. I need to show people Seacret, and I have time. So let's take your time. I'm sorry, your people and my time. Let's put those together and let's see if we can make something of it. What do you got to lose? Here's what I'm looking for. I got nothing to lose, because that's where you get just, there's always yeses and there's nothing to lose situations. There's no lose in that. So I said, well, so listen, so who do you know that you think would love a vacation right now, or would love to get a chance to see this information? So I took a long time answering this question, because this is something that all of us are going to constantly be dealing with. And it's not just one time in your career. What Chance is dealing with right now and working through is what all of us will be doing forever, right? So fear of loss, shopping the app, that's a great way to get somebody to make a decision quickly, because they're losing if they don't join now. Number two is working through them, regardless of whether or not they start, because you don't need them to start to meet people that they know if they're interested and serious. A lot of times they get more serious. And three, more third party. And also I would demo a couple products and see if that changes their closing ratios.
Yeah,
so
that's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Great questions. All right, guys. Okay, so okay, all right. So other questions. So pop on here.
Hey, Jesse.
Yes.
Sarita from New York City. So my question is, I'm preparing a career change, and I find myself spending more time doing my search for my new career, opposed to spending more time building my business. And wanted to get some strategies, and then I feel bad about it too. Wanted to get some strategies for you on how to really focus my time the way it should be focused. If that makes sense. And I'm glad you're doing this, because I was thinking about you today, and I was like, maybe I should text him and ask him this question. So thank you.
You're welcome. So, well, and there's a reason I'm doing this, so I can lead up to it. So, and what you're sitting with, and I kind of want to pivot, but I'm going to go on to your question here first. So, here's what a lot of you believe, and this is what I used to believe. I believed I used to have to know all the answers to the questions. I don't have all the answers. I don't even know the answer to her question. So you know what I do? I ask more questions. So a lot of what we're going to be doing is we are discovering the answer more than I'm giving you an answer to your question. So you'll notice that almost all the time when someone has asked me a question, I have asked them a question back. In fact, I've asked them multiple questions back, because I'm trying to pay attention, find out what's the details, what's going on. So in this case, you've been spending more time searching for your new career, which makes sense because your career is your number one source of income, I'm assuming, correct? Mm-hmm. Right. So that makes sense. It's not bad to be spending time searching for your new career to make sure that your bills are paid while you're pursuing your freedom business, right? So, and now I get that you feel bad about it, but then I would ask another question. Why do you feel bad about it?
Because I really don't want a job. I really don't want it.
All right, cool. So that's the deal. So in other words, I'm spending time looking at my career, which I don't even really want. Right? I got it. So cool. All right. So now here's now we get to the truth. Again, the truth will set you free. First, it'll probably piss you off, but it's just, that's the nature of the beast, right? So all right. So you're in a career right now. You were searching for another career. You don't even really want to be in that career because you want to be full-time working on your business. Is what it sounds like. Okay. So then the question is is how fast or how soon do you want to be full-time working on your business?
By the end of this year. Yeah, by the end of this year.
Okay, by the end of this year. Okay. So in other words, you're not looking for a new career. You're looking for 6 months of temporary work.
There you go. I like that. Okay.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. If that's what you're telling me is true. Because it's not like you're saying, hey, I want to be a career as a veterinarian because I love animals, but I want to get all on this. All right. So, all right. So you're looking for you're looking for a temporary way to continue your lifestyle while you're building your business. So here's what I'd be looking at, in my opinion, is this: is what is something I can find that pays the minimum of my bills but requires the least amount of my time, so I can put 100% of my focus into building my future. That's what I would be looking for. Now, the reason why I wanted to take career out of there, because it doesn't, most of the time as a career, something you want to do for a long period of time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, from that, let's kind of take a look a little bit deeper into the conversation of going, okay, 6 months from now is how much do you need to be making? So, well, how much do you need to be making in your secret business in order to sustain your lifestyle?
On a monthly basis?
Yeah, monthly.
I would say a cool, to be like comfortable, cool 4,000.
4,000.
3,500, 4,000.
So let's just make it 5 because because there's times where you're going to make 4,500, times you're going to make 5,200. It's just our business is up and down. So 5,000 a month. So you need to be making 1,000 to 1,500 a week in your business. So what is the rank that you need to be at, right? So just so the rank is platinum. You need to be platinum, so consistently, and it's between platinum and ruby. Actually, a low-level platinum might make only 3,000 if you're paid as, meaning you're qualifying every week as platinum. So on the low side, you might make 3. On the high side, because rubies and above is where you're going to start seeing that 6,000, 7,000 up to 6 figures, depending on if they're closer to diamond, right? So, so in other words, I would put ruby as your target because you're not going to make less than that at ruby.
Okay.
So in other words, your goal is ruby. So now the question is why aren't you running after ruby? So, and by the way, I'm going to ask the question behind the question, which is, what are you scared of?
I don't know.
That's not true. You do.
I don't know. I think that's something I deal with. Like, what's holding me back? What am I scared of?
All right. I'll ask you another question. If you did know what you were scared of, what would it be?
Say it again.
If you did know what you were scared of, why you're holding back, what would it be?
I don't know.
By the way, I don't believe you at all. So, okay. Now, in this, I'm going to let you sit on this one a little bit just for time's sake. All right. So normally I would not let you off the hook this easily, but because I've got people showing up at my house downstairs already, I can hear. I don't have a lot of time for today's training. But here's what I'm going to tell you. You have an opportunity now. So here's the questions I want you to start learning to ask yourself, which is part of why I put this training together in this context, in this conversation, is this: questions are the answers. So anytime you find yourself, how many guys have ever been in a space where you're like, I know I should be doing something and I'm not doing it? Show of hands. Raise your hand, all of you. Otherwise, you lie about other shit. Like, all of us have done this. We're all so we're really good at doing this. And it's like, why? What is this? Why do I want something and then not follow through on it? Why do I, whatever it may be? And we do this. I do this all the time. I do this. So none of us are perfect in this. So I don't want you to think, leaders are up here on their high horse because they don't have the same level of challenges that you go through. Everybody's fighting a different demon. We are all fighting it. Like all of us, right? So we all have our unique things that we deal with. But when there's something that you are not doing that you want to be doing, I want you to write this in your notes: is what is my payoff? What is my payoff? There's a reason. There's a reason we do everything. There's a reason we don't do things, right? The reason. So what is the reason? And again, what am I scared of? Now, it could be something that you're scared of losing. It could be something you're scared of, whether it be fear of failing. Well, what if I give this thing everything I got and it doesn't really work out, right? So it could be A lot of people, one of the reasons why they're going to have a hard time giving everything like a really big go is because it's easier to play small, because if they go real big and real loud, they're afraid that some of the people that are closest to them might change their belief or their belief in them. So that's usually one of the big things. So could be fear of success. Absolutely. It's one of those big things, right? So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond all measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Right. So some pretty good quotes out there. However, in this particular case, I don't necessarily think that that's it on you. I'm not feeling a whole like unworthy vibe from you. So
No.
yeah, I'm not getting that vibe. So there's something else. There's something else that's going like, I'm holding back because blah, 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 blah. Now you got to dig into that. At the minute that your brain tries to exit out of that conversation for you, you got to stay in the trenches with it. So because there's a reason. What's your payoff? There's a payoff for you playing small here, girl. I don't know what it is, but there is one. So, and you got to figure that out. So what is my payoff? What's my reward? Now, some people, there's no reward for this. There's a reward. There's for sure. There's always a reward. All right. And it could be something even small, like, you know, towards your mom, your dad, or your parents, right? So now, I'm going to pivot a little bit here as we finish up this training here, but incredible question. So, but the one thing I think that's important for you to realize is you're not looking for a career. It doesn't sound like it. Is you're looking for something temporarily, and your goal is Ruby by the end of the year. So if I go over to your house tomorrow, I should see Ruby December 2022 up on everything in your house. You should have your screensaver on your phone should be a picture of the Ruby pin. You should have Ruby on, like, it should be everywhere. And if it's not in front of your face, it's because you don't want it. Period. So, so get like, your goals have got to be in front of you, because life will distract you. The internet will distract you. Facebook will distract you. Like, distraction nation is where we are. You know, it's like, kids can't focus on crap anymore. Why? Well, because their attention spans have been pulled in a million different directions. Do you guys realize when I got started in network marketing, I was in network marketing for 9 years, and I only got shown another network marketing company one time in 9 years. I couldn't have gotten distracted. Nowadays, everyone's evaluating all kinds of bullshit. Anyway, that's another conversation we don't got time for right now. Here's what I want to finish up the training here today before I get ready for another presentation I'm doing here tonight. By the way, presentations are key. If you're not presenting Seacret, you're not doing Seacret. You're in Seacret, you're not doing Seacret. Okay. So is questions. Questions. This is a big one, guys. Learning to ask the right questions. Now, here's the thing. I can't be with you every day. All right. So, but here's what I wanted. I wanted these leaders to be with me every day, because it wasn't so much what they were doing, it's the way they were thinking. How were they thinking about their business? How were they thinking about their presentations? What were the questions they were asking themselves? How were they improving their skill set so much? These were the things I was looking at. How could I become more valuable to my team? How can I become more valuable to my customers? How can I become more valuable to my company, my upline? How, you know, people say, well, my upline is not giving me any time. Well, I hate to break it to you, but I tell you what, is that the people that are producing are becoming more valuable in my organization. The more valuable they are in the organization, the more time they get. And they're saying, well, I'm not valuable as a person. No, that's not what I'm talking about. So, but this is a business. So then it's like, okay, how do I get through all these things? So what I did was this, is I got really excited years and years and years ago, is learning this process of learning how to ask important questions. So anytime I was around a leader, here's the thing is I'm one of those people, like, that's why I say be insanely curious. Is some of you have been sitting with the same question for weeks. Some of you have been sitting with the same question for months, and you've been stuck in the same question. Don't do that. So I want you to be relentless about seeking answers to questions. Now, here's the thing I found from the people that I've coached over 20 years in this industry is I love people who ask questions. Okay. All right. As long as they don't ask the same question twice. Meaning, when you get an answer, go implement it. I'm not saying you won't ask other people the same question, but when somebody comes back to me, like, what do I do with this? I come back and what do I do with this? I know they didn't go actually implement anything that they heard. So how quickly can I grasp information? So here's the questions that we should be asking. Where can I improve in my skills? Right? What's missing to take me to the next level? I'm just spitting out random questions. I got so obsessed with earning a 6-figure income in network marketing, obsessed, that I started studying it like I was studying for an exam. And what I meant by that is anytime I could get around somebody that was making 6 figures in network marketing, I had a book of questions that I would ask them. I will give you an example of some of the questions that I went through with them. And what I did was I recorded these conversations and I called it it was called the six-figure retreats. And what I did was I recorded all these and I would literally ask them, I can't even tell you how many questions. So what was your start date? What day did you earn 6 figures? How many years? Did you have experience in network marketing before you got started? My first company was called Prepay Legal or Legal Shield, right? So I asked them questions. How many personal enrollments did you have? How many legs are you building? What percentage of all of your sales is from your big leg? Because everyone always has a big leg, right? So I asked them questions like, did you ever, when was your first convention? From the year you earned 6 figures, how much did you earn your first year, your second year, your third year, your fourth year? I asked them the trailing years that they had. I asked them what they did when they first woke up in the morning. What did you do with a brand new person when you recruited them in the business? What kind of team systems do you have to train your team? What were like, that's about 10 questions of 100 that I would have for a person that had the results that I wanted. What I was paying attention, like I was, now I'm maybe weird, you know, a lot of you guys, it's interestingly enough, you guys have heard the colors trainings, red, greens, blues, yellows, the personality types, right? So you got your reds, you know, your aggressive, your A types, right? Then you got your yellows, your greens, and your blues. It's interesting because a lot of people have me misidentified, which is interesting. So everywhere I go, be like, well, what is it? I'm not going to tell you. You have to figure it out on your own. However, in this is that I wanted to make sure that I wanted to understand what was going to take it to the next level. So questions are the answers. So in this, so what some of you guys are sitting with, Chance is sitting with the questions. Chance is sitting with Street is sitting with a question. I know Dr. McDonald, you got a question. So I don't want you to sit with these questions, but here's the question I started asking myself. I don't know what to do. If I did know what to do, what would I do? Write this question down. If I did know what to do, what would I do? So I don't know how to talk to this person. If I did know how to talk to this person, what would I say? I don't know how to launch this new person. If I did know what to do to launch this new person, what would I do? I don't know how to do this presentation. If I did know how to do the presentation, how would I do it? I don't know how to explain Club Seacret. If I had to explain Club Seacret, how would I explain it? And what's crazy is that when I started learning to ask myself this question, I found out my brain comes up with some pretty darn good answers. Like some pretty good stuff. And most of the time, once you tried that, but learning how to self-diagnose and basically put yourself out of it. And sometimes you just got to take yourself out and have a conversation with yourself. Now we're all crazy. We all have this conversation. We all have these people in our heads, right? So some of us have committees upstairs, as you guys know. And so what we're going to be doing is just having that conversation, being like, okay, well, what could I have done better? What could I have done different? What's the difference I could have done here? And now I'm like self-diagnosing myself as to what's going on, or what is my payoff? What am I missing? What could I be doing differently? What is this? Is this constant kind of evolution? Now, the only thing you got to be careful of with this conversation, number one, okay, is your inner critic. Write this down. You got to be careful of your inner critic. This one's scary, right? Because some of you guys aren't using asking questions for improvement. You're not even asking questions. You're just beating yourself up. Right. So like, this is your questions. Why am I so bad at this? That is not what we're talking about here. Right. That's how come no one's getting started? That is not that is you just heaping hot coals on yourself, which we're all really good at. Right. Some of you guys, most of us are in the Self-Beaters Anonymous Club, you know, just beating ourselves up, just being like, wow. Right. So, but the whole point of this, guys, is for you to really take a second here and go, okay, if you want a better life, ask better questions. So when I open this up, I can tell you almost immediately, if you don't have, like, I can't even imagine if a 7-figure income earner, by the way, this is crazy stuff. It wasn't until I was making $3,000 a month in my first company. I'd gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 promotions before I even could sit down with a person and have a phone conversation in depth with somebody making 6 figures. Like before that, it was like, but to have a conversation with a multiple 7-figure income earner, that's nothing to do with me. I'm just saying, like, if a 7-figure earner would be like, hey, listen, just bring your questions, I'll answer anything you want to know, I would have been like, oh, I would have lost it. Because having that opportunity, I want you guys to be thinking about it. So why are the conventions so important? Why are the events so important? By the way, when we say the meeting after the meeting is the most important part of the meeting, the reason why is the presentation is the presentation. I'm about to do a presentation at my house. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Club Seacret. We have a booking engine, and there's escapes, and you can get daily deals. And we have Dead Sea products, and we have nutrition, alkaline-based, and it's plant-based and organic and vegan and non-GMO. That's the same thing. You know what isn't the same thing? The meeting after the meeting, when you ask me that question, you're like, man, I'm holding back on some, and we get to have those conversations. It's the meeting around the meetings that are the most important. But if you aren't bringing questions to those meetings, seeking answers, right, to those challenges that you're experiencing in your business, you're going to stay stuck in what you're stuck in. Now, for those of you guys that are like, I don't have any questions, you terrify me the most. All right. So, because like, if you don't think you need to get better, oh God, well, I don't know. I can't help you. Right. Or at least you're just not my peeps. All right. So, which is, I guess, number one. But number two, if you're not having questions, it generally speaking means you're not doing the business. Here's why today's conversation was very productive for Chance, because he's doing the business. Chance has Chance doesn't have that question if he didn't do 25 presentations in the last few months. That question isn't a question, but there's value in the question because he's doing the business, right? And because of that, we can actually have a dialogue around what's doing and what's not. Now, I don't know that that's the best answer. My answer may not even be the best answer, but there's something that we can work off of to improve, to get better, right? And what we can say is what's working. Now, what I did in the very beginning of my business, since none of us had anybody above me that was successful, you know what I did? Me and 3 other dudes that were my age, we met every Tuesday night for a mastermind meeting. We met at Volcano Sushi at 9 p.m. every Tuesday night for 52 weeks in a row off La Cienega Boulevard in Los Angeles. All right. So Busta Rhymes was there. I remember one time. It's a weird story. And we would meet there. We wouldn't leave till midnight, like 9 p.m. to midnight, the 4 of us. We were not on each other's teams. We were all in our early 20s. None of us had an upline to work with because they were either retired, disappeared, or you wouldn't want them talking to anybody on your team because you were like, please leave. Right. So all of us, we would get together, sideline leaders that were in our early 20s being like, what did you do? What are you doing? What did you do? Well, this is what I did. Did that work for you? This is what I did. This worked for you. And we were obnoxious at just going like, we're going to get better. Now, we were competitive against each other too, because we wanted to beat each other, but we also wanted all of us to win as we realized we were better united through this process. So bringing this back all up to speed for you guys is this training today about this conversation is don't get stuck in your questions. Go seek out answers. Number one. Number two is learn to ask yourself empowering questions, not just reiterating how bad you are and stuck at something, because that's not productive. Okay. And then going like, hey, a good example is, all right, if I had to go to convention, how would I get there? Oh man, it's amazing how your brain can work on stuff when you ask it really good questions. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I hope you guys got some lessons, some nuggets that you get from these. And we'll be back here obviously next Tuesday. And then we'll be seeing you guys in Denver next weekend for our boot camp convention. Safe travels, guys. Bye.